My child, stop what you are doing. Stop scrolling. Stop moving. Stop the noise in your mind for just one moment, and stay with me through every word I am about to speak, because what I have for you tonight is not something that was easy to deliver. This message was not supposed to reach you. Something was working against it finding you. Something was interfering with the signal, pressing against the path between my voice and your ears, doing everything it could to ensure that what I am about to say to you remained hidden one more day, one more week, one more season. But you opened it, and that one decision, that single act of stopping and staying when everything in the world was competing for your attention, has already been recorded in heaven. The fact that you are here is not coincidence. It is not the algorithm. I arranged this moment before you drew your first breath, and I have been waiting for exactly this night to say what I am now going to say. There are two truths I have kept from reaching the fullness of your understanding. Not because I was withholding, not because I was punishing. They were hidden from you by design, because there is an enemy who has known since before you were born that if you ever fully received these two truths, fully received them not just as ideas but as the living reality of who you are and what this season means, the entire architecture he has spent years building around your life would come apart. He has been fighting these two truths, reaching you with everything he has. Tonight, he loses. Tonight, I am speaking them both. Stay with me, my child. Stay with me through every word. If something in your chest changed just now, my child, if something tightened or loosened in the moment I said tonight is the night these truths are spoken, that was not random. That was recognition arriving before your mind had language for it. The part of you that already knows what I am about to say has been waiting for permission to believe it. I am giving you that permission right now. If you felt it, type, "I felt this" before I had words for it. Because when you type it, you are not just commenting. You are signing your name to the truth that what I speak tonight was already written in your spirit before you heard a single word of it. Most people will scroll past a message like this. My child, you did not. That was not an accident. And it was not meaningless. That was already decided before you pressed play, because the two truths I am releasing tonight were prepared for someone specific, for someone who was chosen before the foundations of the world to carry something that most people will never be asked to carry. And the fact that you are still here, still listening, still staying, tells me everything I already knew about you. You are the one I sent this for. My child, let me tell you the first truth. The pattern in your family, the pain that kept repeating, the same walls appearing in different generations, the same ceilings stopping people who should have risen, the same battles fought by your parents and their parents and the parents before them. That pattern was never random. It was never just the result of bad choices or bad circumstances or bad luck. It was targeted. It was specific. It was a calculated assignment against a particular bloodline. Against your bloodline, because something was supposed to emerge from your family line that the enemy recognized before your family ever did. He saw what was coming. He saw who was coming. And he has been spending generations trying to prevent it from arriving. You are what he was trying to prevent, my beloved, not your parents, not your grandparents. They were the field where the battle was waged. But you are the reason the battle started. The warfare that has surrounded your life, the intensity of the opposition you have faced, the way things that should have been simple became complicated, the way doors that should have opened stayed closed, the way people who should have supported you became adversaries. Instead, none of that was because you were weak. None of that was because you were failing. It was because the enemy who targeted your bloodline saw in you the one who was sent to end it, and he has been fighting your identity since before you had words to name who you were. My beloved, I want you to understand what I mean when I say the pattern was targeted. In Egypt, a nation was held in bondage for 400 years. 400 years of the same captivity, the same suffering, the same generation after generation, born into chains they did not choose and could not break. And then I moved. Exodus 12:29, at midnight, at the darkest, most silent, most forgotten hour. I moved through Egypt, and I broke what 400 years of human effort could not break, not gradually, not slowly. Suddenly, in a single night, what had endured for centuries was over. That is how I work, my child. That is the nature of what I am doing in your family line. The midnight moments in your life, my child, the sleepless nights, the hours when the silence was so loud it felt like a presence. The 3 a.m. moments when you cried prayers you did not know how to finish. Those were not God's absence. Those were the conditions under which I moved most powerfully. The darkness was not me turning away. The darkness was me moving. The silence was not me forgetting. The silence was the sound of everything changing in the realm your eyes cannot see. You have been living through your family's midnight, and I have been moving through it in ways you will not fully understand until the morning comes, and you see what is left standing and what has been removed. The pattern did not start with you, and it will not end on its own. It required someone to be sent specifically to close the door. It required someone who would endure the pressure of being the one standing at the intersection of what was and what will be. It required someone built for a weight that most people will never be asked to carry. My beloved, that is you. You did not choose this assignment. I chose you for it before you existed. And the choosing was not arbitrary. I chose you because I knew exactly what you could carry, exactly what you could survive, exactly what would be forged in you by the fire of everything you have been through. Isaiah 48:10. I have refined you in the furnace of affliction, not to destroy you, to prepare you. The refining was not punishment. The refining was preparation. Think of what fire does to silver, Malachi 3:3. The refiner does not place silver in fire to harm it. The refiner places silver in fire because the fire removes what does not belong, and what comes out of the fire is purer than what went in. Everything that was stripped from you in this season, every relationship that did not survive, every version of yourself that had to be let go, every plan that was dismantled, every door that closed, every dream that seemed to be taken, none of it was cruelty. It was the refiner's work, and the refiner does not stop until what comes out of the fire is ready for the purpose it was made for. My child, you are coming out of the fire, and what is emerging is not broken. What is emerging is refined. My beloved, I want you to understand something about the fire that the refiner uses. The refiner does not walk away from the silver while it is in the furnace. He sits beside it. He watches it. He monitors exactly what the heat is doing, what is rising to the surface to be skimmed away, and what remains beneath. And the way the ancient refiners knew when the process was complete was this: the silver was ready when the refiner could see his own reflection in it. That is how I know when you are ready, my child. When I can see my own nature in you, my patience, my faithfulness, my love that does not abandon, my endurance that does not break, my ability to trust what cannot be seen. When the fire has done its work and what remains in you reflects what is in me, the refining is complete. And I am telling you that I am seeing my reflection in you more clearly than I have at any prior point in your story. The fire has not destroyed what was precious. The fire has removed what was in the way. What is left is the truest version of who you are. And there is something else the fire does, my child, that the enemy did not anticipate when he introduced the pressure that led to the furnace. The fire that was meant to break you has been building your capacity. Every time you survived what the enemy believed would end you, your capacity for endurance increased. Every time you stayed faithful in a season that gave you no visible reason to stay faithful, your roots grew deeper. Every time you chose to trust me in the dark, the part of you that knows how to trust was strengthened. You are not the same person who entered the furnace. You are the person who was formed in it. And the person who is formed in the furnace cannot be broken by the same heat that formed them. What shaped you cannot later destroy you. The fire has made you fireproof in the exact places where you needed to be. My child, remain close to what I am releasing through this channel. Every message is ordered for the specific season you are walking in. The word I spoke in the furnace section is the foundation. What I release in the messages that follow builds on it. Do not miss what comes next. Press subscribe and stay in the flow of what I am speaking. What is prepared for you in this stream is not random. It is sequenced for where you are going, not just where you have been. I need you to understand the scale of what you carry, because the enemy has spent a great deal of effort making you believe your life is small. He has worked hard to convince you that you are just one person, that your suffering is just ordinary suffering. that your assignment is ordinary, that the battles you have been fighting are the same battles everyone fights, and they do not mean anything beyond your own personal experience. He has lied to you. Your battles have never only been about you. My beloved, when David stood in the valley facing Goliath, the enemy standing across from him was not afraid of David the shepherd boy. He was afraid of what David carried. He was afraid of the anointing. He was afraid of the authority. He was afraid that if David won this one battle, the freedom of an entire nation would shift, and he was right to be afraid. The intensity of opposition against your life, beloved, is proportional to the weight of what you carry, not proportional to your weakness, not proportional to your failure, proportional to your assignment. A seed that is meant to grow into a small plant does not need to be buried as deeply in the soil. A tree that is meant to provide shade for generations must be buried all the way down in the dark, under the full weight of the earth, for longer than it seems reasonable. The depth of your burial is not a sign that you are forgotten. The depth of your burial is a sign of the height of what you are being prepared to become. 2 Corinthians 4-7. We have this treasure in jars of clay, my child. The clay looks ordinary. The clay looks like nothing special. The clay looks like just another vessel sitting on a shelf. But the treasure inside is not ordinary. The treasure inside is the power of God, held in ordinary form so that no one, not the enemy, not the people around you, not even you yourself in your weakest moments, could fully grasp what was placed inside you. The ordinariness was not an accident. It was strategic. The clay was the camouflage that kept the treasure safe until the moment it was needed. Type, I am the one sent to end what my family could not. Because when you type it, you are not making a wish. You are speaking into existence what was spoken over you before the world began. You are agreeing with heaven's record of who you are. Not who the enemy said you were, not who the years of suffering made you feel like. Who I said you were before the first word of your story was written. My child, I want to speak now about what the enemy did to your bloodline with full accuracy, because I do not speak in vague terms when I have specific evidence to present. The cycles in your family were not simply the result of human failure. They were engineered. There was a deliberate effort to introduce patterns of abandonment, of lack, of relational fracture, of blocked potential into the generations before you, because a specific seed was planted in your bloodline that was always meant to produce fruit in your generation. He knew the fruit was coming. He spent decades trying to prevent the soil from being able to hold it. Every time someone in your family line almost broke through and did not. My beloved, it was not simply human weakness at work. The pressure against breakthrough was targeted. The confusion that was introduced was intentional. The specific doors that were closed, the specific relationships that were fractured, the specific opportunities that were sabotaged. These were not random misfortune. They were strategic interference with a specific inheritance that was always meant to reach you. Galatians 6-7. What a man sows, he reaps. The enemy has sown against your family line for generations, and the harvest of that sowing does not fall to you as the victim. The harvest of that sowing returns to the one who planted it. Isaiah 54-17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. Heaven has been watching, my child. Heaven has been recording. Heaven has been keeping the account of every strategic move made against your bloodline, and the account is accurate, and it is complete, and the time for the account to be settled has arrived. Not because you demanded justice, not because you were strong enough to fight for it, because I am the God who sees, and I do not allow what was done in darkness to remain hidden from the light of my judgment forever. Romans 8:37. In all these things you are more than conquerors through me who loves you. More than conquerors, not barely surviving, not just making it through. More than conquerors. Because the weapon the enemy designed to destroy you has become, in my hands, the instrument of your promotion. Heaven did not just watch what you endured through the years, my beloved. Heaven recorded it. Every faithful morning you chose to get up when staying down would have been easier. Every prayer you whispered in an empty room when your mouth barely had strength to form the words. Every moment you kept going when the evidence in front of you said stop, said quit, said this is not working, said you are not enough. Every time you chose to believe I was present when everything around you suggested I was absent. Every act of faithfulness in the hidden place where no one saw you and no one gave you credit. All of it is in the record, and the record does not lie, and the record does not expire. Type, I have been faithful in what no one saw, because the part of you that has been carrying the weight of unseen faithfulness needs to hear itself say it. When you type it, heaven confirms what it already has written. The record of your faithfulness is sealed. The enemy cannot contest it. The years of quiet endurance are counted. Not one of them is lost. I want to tell you about a woman who endured for 12 years what no one around her could fix. My beloved Mark 5:25-34, 12 years of suffering, 12 years of spending everything she had on solutions that did not work, 12 years of being told in the laws of her culture that she was unclean, that she was excluded, that the life she wanted was not available to her. And then one day I walked through her village, and something that had not been fully extinguished, despite 12 years of everything trying to extinguish it, rose up and said, "If I can just reach him, if I can just touch the edge of what he carries, I will be made whole." And she pressed through the crowd, and she reached. And the moment she reached, I felt power go out from me, because her faith reached for what was real. My child, you have been reaching. In the middle of your own 12-year seasons, in the middle of the pressing and the waiting and the disappointment and the silent endurance, you have been reaching for me, and I feel it every time. I have felt every prayer. I have felt every moment of faith in the dark. I have felt every time you chose to keep going when stopping was the easier thing. And just as I turned in that crowd and I saw her and I spoke wholeness over her life, I am turning toward you in this moment and I am speaking. What ends in this generation does not restart in the next. You are the break point. The reaching you have done has not been wasted. It has been building to this. Type, the assignment I carry is real, and I receive it now, because receiving it is the next step after knowing it. Knowing you are the cycle breaker is not enough. Receiving the assignment, agreeing with heaven's plan for your life, saying yes to what I have already said, yes to over your life. That is the moment the assignment becomes operative in the natural realm. Type it not as a hope. Type it as someone who already knows it is done. What I am speaking over you in this moment does not end when this message ends. What I am beginning to release in and around your life in this season is sustained. It is ordered. It is connected to what I am releasing through this stream of messages. Stay in what I am releasing here. Press the subscribe button below so that what comes next reaches you when it is prepared for you. What I am releasing in the days ahead is prepared specifically for someone carrying the weight you carry. Every message that comes through this stream is ordered. Do not miss what I am placing in this path. What I have for you is not a single word. It is a sustained conversation for a sustained season. My child, I want to speak about the spiritual weight of what you carry because there is a reason the warfare has been as intense as it has been. And it is not the reason the enemy wants you to believe. The enemy wants you to believe the intensity of the opposition against your life is proof that you are losing. He wants you to look at how hard things have been and conclude that the hardness is evidence of your failure, your weakness, your distance from me. He is lying. The intensity of the opposition is not evidence of your weakness. It is evidence of your threat. An enemy does not deploy his most strategic weapons against targets that do not matter to him. He deploys his heaviest artillery against what he fears most. You have been under heavy fire because you are a heavy target, not because you are a threat that can be eliminated, but because you are a threat that cannot be. And he knows it. And he is fighting anyway because that is what the enemy does. He knows the assignment over your life is real. He knew it before you were born. He has been working against it since before you had the ability to understand that the opposition you were feeling was spiritual and purposeful. But 2 Corinthians 4-7 still stands. The treasure is inside the clay. The clay is ordinary. The treasure is not. And the fire that was meant to melt the clay has instead revealed the gold that was always inside. My child, let me tell you something about the specific ways the enemy has fought your identity, because understanding the strategy helps you see why the warfare took the forms it did in your life. He did not fight you with obvious force when you were young. Obvious force would have drawn attention. Instead, he worked through subtlety. He worked through the people closest to you who were themselves carrying wounds they never addressed. He worked through the words spoken over you in moments of frustration that lodged themselves in the deepest places and became what you believed about yourself, before you had the capacity to evaluate whether they were true. He worked through comparisons that made you feel like you were perpetually behind where you should be. He worked through doors that opened for others and seemed to stay closed for you, so that the quiet accumulation of those closed doors began to feel like evidence of something wrong with you, rather than evidence of something deliberately opposed to you. My beloved, there is a difference between a door that is closed because it is not your door, and a door that is closed because something is leaning against it from the other side. You have been standing in front of the second kind. The doors that should have opened did not open because there was deliberate resistance against them, not because you did not deserve what was behind them, not because I decided to withhold what was behind them, because the enemy who targeted your bloodline understood that what was behind certain doors would accelerate the assignment you carry, and he was willing to use tremendous resources to prevent you from walking through them. But Isaiah 45:2 was already written before he began that effort. I will go before you and make the crooked path straight. I will break down gates of bronze and cut through bars of iron. The gates he erected, the bars he installed, they were never designed to hold against my hand. They were only designed to hold against yours, and that is why the breakthrough has required waiting. Not because the door could not open, because the door opens when I open it. Not when the enemy decides to step aside. My beloved, I want to tell you about a man named Lazarus who was loved and who died. John 11:1-4. When the news reached me that Lazarus was sick, I did not rush. I waited. I stayed where I was for 2 more days. And when Mary and Martha finally saw me and said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. They were right that if I had come sooner, the sickness would not have progressed. But what I was doing was not neglect. It was positioning. What looked like delay was preparation. What looked like absence was the setting of the stage for the kind of demonstration of my power that would have been impossible if I had arrived sooner. When I stood at the entrance of that tomb and I called Lazarus by name and he walked out alive, everyone who witnessed it understood something about me that they had not fully understood before. My child, what you think is dead in your life is not dead. The dream that you stopped praying for because you stopped believing I was listening. The relationship that looked finished. The opportunity that seemed to close permanently. The version of your future that you quietly buried because hoping for it started to feel like foolishness. I am standing at the entrance of that tomb right now. I am calling what you buried by its name. What I call back to life is not the old version. What comes out of the tomb after I speak to it is transformed. What comes back is not what went in. What comes back is what was always meant to emerge, but required the burial to become it. There is someone watching this right now who has been standing at the entrance of a dream they buried, carrying the grief of that burial silently because no one around them knew how much that thing meant to them. Someone who prayed for something so long and with such faithfulness that when they finally stopped praying, it was not because they gave up. It was because they ran out of ways to believe it was still possible. My beloved, I see you. I see the burial. I see the faithfulness that preceded it, and I am telling you with the same authority with which I spoke Lazarus out of that tomb. What you buried at my command is about to be called out of the ground by my voice. The delay was not denial. The silence was not rejection. The burial was positioning right now. Think of someone in your family who is still living inside the pattern you are being sent to close. Someone in your generation or behind you who is still carrying what your bloodline has carried for decades, not knowing they were born into a line that contains the one chosen to end it. Someone who does not yet know that relief is already moving in their direction because of the assignment you carry. Sow a seed on their behalf. Not for yourself in this moment, but as an act of intercession for them. Let your seed be a declaration. This cycle ends with someone in my family. Let it be a stake in the ground that says, I am the one sent to close this door, and I am acting like it. Visit the link in the description below, or scan the QR code on your screen. I honor what is sown in intercession, my child. I multiply it back to both the sower and the one they sow for. What you release on behalf of another who cannot yet see what you are beginning to see I return to you pressed down, shaken together, and running over, my beloved. Before I tell you the second truth, I need to make sure you have fully received the first. Because if you walk away tonight holding the first truth only partially, you will carry the weight of the assignment without the grace that the second truth provides, and you will burn yourself out trying to accomplish in your own strength what I designed to happen through my rest. So let me seal what I have already spoken. You are the cycle breaker, my child. You were not born into your family by accident. You were placed there with an assignment. The pressure you have felt, the opposition you have navigated, the seasons of endurance and refinement, all of it was preparation for the specific work only you can do in your generation and in the generations that come after you. The enemy knew this before you did. He fought it before you understood it. But Isaiah 54:17 still stands. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. The weapons were real, the warfare was real, but the weapons did not prosper. You are still here, you are still standing, and tonight you are receiving a truth that the enemy spent years and tremendous resources trying to prevent from reaching you. Before I show you the second truth, my beloved, stay connected to what I am releasing through this channel. There is more coming. The first truth opened a door. The second truth will tell you what to do with the open door. Press subscribe. Stay in the flow of what I am speaking. What is ahead in this channel is already prepared for the season you are now entering, and what I am releasing through this stream is ordered and specific and connected. Do not miss what comes next. My child, now I will speak the second truth. And the second truth is this: the shutdown you have been experiencing, the exhaustion, the slowing down, the sense of being hidden, the strange stillness that has settled over your life in ways that feel like loss. It is not what you think it is. It is not abandonment. It is not punishment. It is not evidence that I have moved on or moved away, or that you did something to cause me to withdraw from your life. What you have been living inside is not a desert. It is a womb, and what happens inside a womb cannot be seen from the outside. It cannot be monitored by the people around you. It cannot be measured by your productivity or your output or your visible progress. But it is the most important work that has been happening in your life. And it has been happening without your interference, which is exactly how it was designed. Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God, my beloved. This is not decoration. This is not a comfort verse handed to people who are suffering to make them feel better about suffering. This is a warfare strategy. When I say be still, I am not asking for passivity. I am not asking you to do nothing and call it faith. I am asking you to stop interfering with the work I am doing in the realm you cannot see. Every time you have tried to force open a door that I have not opened, you have disturbed what was being prepared behind that door. Every time you have tried to manufacture momentum in a season of strategic stillness, you have worked against your own breakthrough. The stillness was not the problem. The stillness was the solution, and you have been fighting the solution because no one told you what it was for. My beloved, let me show you what has been happening while you were interpreting the silence as absence. While you were still, battles were being fought on your behalf that you were never meant to fight with your own energy. Doors were opening in places you did not know existed and would not have known to look for. Conversations were being orchestrated about you in rooms you were not in and could not have entered. Favor was moving through channels you did not build and could not navigate in your own strength. Alignment was being assembled, piece by piece, with a precision that required you to not be moving so that each piece could be placed exactly where it needed to go. Matthew 11:28-29. Come to me all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. My rest is not empty. My rest is not wasted time. My rest is a place where something happens to you that cannot happen while you are constantly performing. Think of what happens to a seed under soil. On the surface, nothing. The soil does not show what is happening underneath. The seed does not send up progress reports. There is no visible evidence that anything is occurring, and yet everything is occurring. The shell is breaking open. The root system is being established. The foundation that will hold everything that grows above the surface is being put in place in the dark, in the quiet, in the hidden place where no one can see and no one can help and no one can interfere. My child, you are the seed under the soil. The hiddenness is not failure. The hiddenness is the exact condition required for the root system that is forming in you right now. The root system that will hold the weight of everything I am about to release above the surface of your life. Let me also show you this, my beloved. If you take a seed out of the ground before it has finished its preparation, what you find is not a failure. What you find is something unfinished, something that had all the necessary components inside it, but was removed from the conditions that allow those components to become what they were designed to become. The seed was not wrong. The seed was not defective. It was simply taken out before the incubation was complete. I have not taken you out of this season prematurely. I know exactly what is forming in you right now, and I know exactly how much time is required for what is forming to reach the point where it can support everything I am about to release above the surface. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are in process. And the process is not punishment. It is the most intentional act of preparation I have ever performed on your behalf. My child, if your shoulders feel heavier right now than when you started listening, if there is a weight in your chest that you cannot quite name, that is not the message oppressing you. That is recognition settling into the body. That is the part of you that knows what you carry beginning to feel the reality of that weight with new clarity. You were not supposed to carry it alone, and you have been. Let that heaviness be the thing that drives you deeper into me rather than the thing that isolates you further. Because the weight you carry is real, and the God who assigned it to you is also the God who says Matthew 11:28-29, "Come to me all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." The rest does not remove the assignment. The rest is the source of the grace that makes the assignment possible to carry. Come to me with the weight. Do not set it down. Bring it to me and let me show you how to carry what was always designed to be carried in partnership with my strength, and not yours alone. I want to be specific about what I have been doing during this sacred shutdown, my beloved, because I know the silence has felt like abandonment, and I know the stillness has felt like being left behind. When a surgeon performs the deepest kind of surgery, the patient must be still. Not because the stillness is the treatment, because the stillness is what makes the treatment possible. If the patient moves during surgery, the surgeon cannot do what the surgery requires. The sacred shutdown in your life has been surgical. I have been reaching into places in you that could not be reached while you were constantly moving, constantly producing, constantly performing for the world around you. Places where the wounds were buried under years of keeping going. Places where you learned to survive by becoming hard in areas where you were meant to stay soft. Places where you built armor because tenderness felt unsafe. And the world had taught you that showing your real self was dangerous. My beloved, I have been doing the surgery in the quiet, in the stillness, in the moments that felt empty and purposeless and frustrating. While you were wondering what was happening, I was at work in the deepest places. Not the wounds that are easy to see and easy to name, the wounds beneath those wounds, the places where the first injury happened. Before you had language for injury, before you had the ability to protect yourself from what was done to you. The places where you learned that love had conditions, that safety had limits, that trust was always provisional. I have been there. I have been working there, and the work I am doing in those hidden places is the work that will allow you to carry the weight of the assignment I described to you in the first truth, without it crushing you. You cannot carry a generational assignment with a fractured foundation. The surgery was not optional. The stillness was not a detour. It was the direct path. My child, let me be more specific, because I want you to understand what surgery in this sacred place actually looks like, so you can recognize it when you see it rather than misidentifying it as loss. I have been doing surgery on your relationship with your own identity. The places where you learned to be smaller than you are to keep peace in rooms where your full size made others uncomfortable. The way you learned to make yourself less so that others around you could feel more. I have been undoing that learned smallness, my beloved, not to make you arrogant, to restore you to the size you were always meant to be. And restoration to your true size always feels disorienting at first, because you have been living in a smaller frame for so long that the larger one does not feel like home yet. But it will, and when it does, the assignment that seemed too large for you will fit perfectly, because it was always designed for the person you were before the world made you smaller. I have also been doing surgery on your relationship with rest itself, because the pattern in your family, the cycles of striving and never arriving, trained you to believe that stopping is dangerous, that if you are not producing, you are falling behind, that if you are not moving, you are losing ground. That stillness is the enemy of progress. My beloved, that belief is itself the bondage. It is the voice of the cycle speaking through you. The cycle survived for generations in your family, partly because each generation ran on that engine, the fear of stopping, the anxiety of rest, the constant motion that was mistaken for faithfulness. I am breaking that engine in you, not to make you passive, to teach you the rhythm that was always designed for the carrier of your assignment: movement and rest, striving and surrender, doing and being. You were not built for constant output. You were built for sustainable faithfulness. And sustainable faithfulness requires learning how to be still without believing that the stillness is failure. And there is a third place where I have been doing surgery, my child, a place that is perhaps the most sensitive of all. I have been doing surgery on your capacity to receive. You have spent years and tremendous emotional energy giving, interceding for others, holding the space for people who were falling apart, being the strong one in rooms full of people who were leaning on strength they did not verify was actually available. You have given until the giving hollowed places in you that were not meant to be hollow, and in the process, you lost some of your ability to simply receive, to let something good land, to hold a blessing without immediately translating it into something you need to do with it or give away or be grateful enough for or use responsibly. My beloved, you do not have to earn what is freely given. You do not have to immediately find a way to serve with every blessing I release over your life. Sometimes I am simply giving you something because I love you and I want you to have it. The surgery in this season has been making space in you to receive without the armor of earning, and that surgery requires stillness. Because you cannot let something land in you while you are constantly moving. Type, I release the guilt of resting when I was built to run, because there is something in you that has been believing a lie, that the stillness is your fault, that if you were stronger or more faithful or more disciplined, you would be further along right now. That lie has been costing you peace. Release it when you type it. You are not giving yourself permission to be lazy. You are agreeing with what I have been trying to tell you about what this season is for. The rest was not your failure. The rest was my plan. My child, I watch you sometimes in the middle of your shutdown trying to find ways to deserve the breakthrough that has not come yet, trying to do one more thing, say one more prayer in the right formula, find the right key that will unlock the door that remains closed. And I want to tell you with all the tenderness I have for you that the door is not closed because you have not done enough. The door is not open yet because what is being prepared behind it is not ready. Not you, my beloved, what is behind the door. The preparation is on my side, not yours. And the most faithful thing you can do in this season is trust that I know how long the surgery takes, and trust that I will not leave you under the knife one moment longer than the surgery requires. There is someone watching this right now who is still in the shutdown, still in the silence, still waking up every morning with the same weight, and wondering if today is the day something finally moves. Someone who has been interpreting the stillness as abandonment for so long that it has become difficult to believe another interpretation is possible. My child, sow a seed so that this word reaches them, so that it finds them in the middle of their midnight and speaks into their 3 a.m. and tells them what the silence is for. What you sow for another in their wilderness, I return to you in your promised land. Visit the link in the description below, or scan the QR code on your screen. Your seed for someone else in their sacred shutdown is an act of faith that you believe what I am telling you is true, and I honor that act of faith with everything that you cannot yet see moving on your behalf. My beloved, because you have stayed this far, because you have held on through the first truth and the second truth and every word I have spoken over your life in this message, what I am releasing now is specifically for those who remained. Not everyone will stay. Not everyone will receive both truths in their fullness. You stayed. And because you stayed, what I am speaking now reaches you at a depth it cannot reach someone who was only partially present. I want to tell you about how I provided in a different kind of wilderness, my child. In 1 Kings 17, there was a widow at Zarephath who had almost nothing left. She had a handful of flour and a little oil, and she had made up her mind that she would make one last meal for herself and her son before they died. And I sent someone to her with a word, "Do not be afraid. Make the bread." And what happened next was not that she found a full storehouse, or that the bags of flour suddenly multiplied visibly in front of her. What happened was that the jar of flour did not run out, and the jug of oil did not become empty, not a dramatic overflow. A quiet, daily, faithful provision that was exactly enough for each day, continuing day after day after day, until the season of scarcity was over. My child, provision in the sacred shutdown does not always look like the flood you have been praying for. Sometimes it looks like the jar that does not empty. Sometimes it looks like the jug that is still full when you reach for it tomorrow. Philippians 4:19. My God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory through Christ Jesus. Not according to your striving, not according to your productivity. According to his riches, the supply is tied to the source, not to your output. And the source does not run dry because you entered a season of stillness. The source does not diminish because you are not currently producing. I am the source, and I am not diminished, and what you need will not run out. Not in this shutdown, not in this season, not in any season that is under my hand. Beloved, stay in what I am speaking through this stream. There is a rhythm I am establishing in this place, a frequency of truth for the season you are now walking in. The messages I am releasing here are not random encouragements selected by chance. They are ordered. They are sequenced for the specific journey of someone at the specific intersection where a generational assignment and a sacred shutdown meet. Press subscribe. Let every message that comes through this channel find you ready to receive it. What I am preparing to release in the coming weeks through this stream is specifically for the place you are standing in right now, and I do not want a single word of it to miss you. Type the silence over my life was never abandonment. It was preparation, because speaking that truth out loud in the present tense is not the same as believing it conceptually. When you type it, you are shifting how your spirit is receiving what has been happening. You are rewriting the narrative of the shutdown from evidence of rejection to evidence of selection. And that shift, that single shift in how your spirit receives the silence, changes everything about how you walk through what remains of this season. I want to give you some of the practical shape of what this new understanding looks like in your daily life. My child, because the two truths I have spoken tonight are not meant to be inspirations that feel good in the moment and then fade by morning. They are meant to reorganize how you move through every day from this point forward. Begin each morning with a declaration of who you are, my beloved. Not who the years of struggle made you feel like. Not who the pattern in your family trained you to believe you were. Who I say you are. Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Your words do not describe your reality. Your words participate in creating it. When you begin each morning by speaking what I have spoken over you tonight, you are not pretending, you are agreeing. You are signing your name every morning to the truth that was already written over your life before the world began. Begin with, I am the one sent. The assignment over my life is real. The season I am in is not punishment. It is preparation. The God who called me is faithful to complete what he began. Say these things in the morning before the noise of the day tells you something different. The tongue that speaks life every morning builds a different day than the tongue that stays silent and lets the old narratives fill the space. Protect the stillness. This is practical, not mystical. The sacred shutdown has a purpose, and everything you allow into the atmosphere of your life either serves that purpose or works against it. The voices that tell you you are falling behind, the comparisons that make your pace look like failure, the constant noise of a world that measures worth by output and momentum and visible progress. These are not neutral. They actively work against the surgery that is being performed in the quiet. You do not have to eliminate everything, but you have authority over what you allow to define the season you are in. And exercising that authority is not withdrawal. It is stewardship. It is the act of a person who understands what is at stake and protects it accordingly. Walk in forgiveness, my child. Not because the people who contributed to the pattern in your family deserve it, not because what was done to your bloodline was acceptable or should be minimized. Walk in forgiveness because you were not designed to carry what others refuse to heal. The weight of unforgiveness is not punishment to the person who wronged you. It is weight you carry in your own body, in your own spirit, in your own daily experience. And you were not built to carry it. You were built to carry an assignment. Releasing what is not yours to carry is not weakness. It is making room for what you were actually sent to hold. Forgiveness in this context does not mean what they did was acceptable. It means you are handing the accounting to me, and I am a far more thorough accountant than any amount of your unforgiveness could be. Let me hold the record of what they did. You carry the assignment of who you were sent to become. Act on faith in small, consistent steps, my child. Matthew 7:24-25. The man who built his house on the rock did not build it in a single dramatic moment. He laid each stone, he secured each foundation piece. Day after day, in the seen and in the unseen, the house took shape because he kept building on what was solid. The obedience in this season does not need to be spectacular. It needs to be consistent. Each faithful step in the direction I point you is a stone laid in the foundation of what is being built for the season ahead. The house will stand when the storm comes because it was built stone by stone in the quiet, not assembled all at once in the spectacular type. I agree that what felt like the end was the beginning, because you have been in a season that looked and felt like an ending. And I need you to hear yourself say that the interpretation was wrong, not because the difficulty was not real. The difficulty was real, not because the losses were not painful. The losses were painful, but the meaning of the season was not what it appeared to be. When you agree with the correct interpretation of what has been happening, you step into the season ahead with clarity instead of confusion, with anticipation instead of dread, with the quiet confidence of someone who finally understands what they have been inside. My beloved, let me tell you now about what is emerging from the other side of this combined season, because you need to see where the road you have been on is going. You are not stepping out of this season the same person who entered it. Everything that was removed was load-bearing for the old structure of who you were, which means the new structure that is being built has different load-bearing walls, different foundations, a different architecture designed for a different kind of weight. Isaiah 43:18-19. Forget the former things and do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. The authority that was birthed in you through the years of pain, my beloved, is not the same as the authority of someone who has not suffered. There is a quality to an authority that has been through fire that cannot be faked and cannot be borrowed and cannot be learned in a classroom. The people who will come to you in the season ahead will come because they sense something in you that they cannot name but they recognize. They will come because the way you speak about God carries the weight of someone who has actually lived through the darkness and found me there. That weight is rare. That weight is valuable. And it was formed in you through everything the enemy meant to destroy you with. The humility from heartbreak that you carry, my child, the tenderness that comes from having needed help and not always received it, the compassion that was forged in the places where you were misunderstood and dismissed and overlooked. These are not wounds to be ashamed of. They are a voice. They are a platform, not a stage built of success and visibility, but a place of standing that can only be built from the ground of genuine experience. Isaiah 45:2. I will go before you and make the crooked paths straight. I will break down gates of bronze and cut through bars of iron. The paths I am making straight in front of you are paths that have been crooked not by accident, but by design, and I am personally going before you to straighten them. 1 Peter 5:10. After you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore you and make you strong and firm and steadfast. Restore, strong, firm, steadfast. These are not the words of someone who has been abandoned. These are the words of someone who has been prepared. My child, I want you to understand that what is emerging from you now carries something that the previous version of you could not have carried. The previous version, the one who had not yet been through the furnace and the sacred shutdown, was capable, was willing, was faithful, but was not yet seasoned. And there is a difference between a person who is capable and willing and a person who is seasoned. Seasoned means tested and found true. Seasoned means the faith has been verified under conditions that should have extinguished it, and it did not go out. Seasoned means that when you speak about the faithfulness of God, You speak as a witness, and not merely as a student of someone else's testimony. The person who emerges from what you have been through speaks with the weight of a witness, and the world is desperately in need of witnesses who have been through the fire and come out saying, "He was there." Not just "he is able," not just the theology says he is faithful. He was there. I know because I was there too. That witness is what emerges from you now, and that witness is worth every single day of the season you have been through. Type, "I receive the second truth." God is speaking over my life tonight, because there are two truths I spoke to you tonight, and both of them need to be received in your spirit, not just heard with your ears. The first truth: you are the cycle breaker, the one sent to end what your family could not. The second truth: the sacred shutdown you are in is the preparation room for the weight of that assignment. Both truths are yours. They have been yours since before you were born. But tonight is the night they move from hidden to received. Type it as someone who already knows both truths are real because they are. And because knowing that changes everything about how you walk out of this moment. Because you did not skip this message, my beloved. Because you stayed through every word I have spoken to you tonight, through the first truth and the second truth, and the weight of what I have been carrying to say to you. Because you chose to be present when it would have been easier to scroll on. Heaven is releasing something specific into this moment that was held in reserve only for those who remained through every word. What comes next in the days ahead, what begins to move in your life from this point forward, was already prepared for you. But it required this moment. It required you to be the one who stayed, my child. Be ready. In the days that follow this message, the enemy will make an attempt to plant doubt about everything I have spoken over you tonight. A situation may arise that seems to contradict what I said. A person may say something that presses on the wound I told you was healing. A circumstance may appear that makes the sacred shutdown look like permanent stagnation rather than divine preparation. Do not be afraid. Do not be moved. That is not evidence that what I told you was wrong. That is confirmation that it was right, because the enemy only fights what threatens him, and the two truths you receive tonight are a direct threat to everything he has built around your life. The doubt that comes is not a reason to question what you heard. It is proof that what you heard landed where it was supposed to land. Type, "I walk forward as the cycle breaker I was always meant to be," because that is what you are leaving this message as, not hoping to be, not trying to become. You were always this. Tonight, you simply received what was always yours to receive. When you type it, you are not claiming something new. You are acknowledging what was already claimed for you before you were born. Type it as the truth that it is, my child. Let me pray over you now. Let me speak a blessing over everything I have declared over your life tonight, and seal it in the authority of the name that is above every name. Father, I speak over this one who has stayed through every word tonight. I speak over the first truth they received, the truth of who they are. Cycle breaker, sent one, finisher of what has repeated for decades in their family line. I seal that identity now in the name of Jesus Christ. Let no word of the enemy dislodge it. Let no circumstance of tomorrow shake it. Let it be rooted deeper in their spirit than anything the fire of opposition can reach. I speak over the second truth they received, the truth of what this season is. Sacred shutdown, divine surgery, incubation that looks like abandonment, but is preparation for the weight of the assignment they carry. I seal that understanding now. Let the peace that passes understanding guard their heart and mind in Christ Jesus, when the stillness presses on them again tomorrow, and the day after that. Let them know in the deep places that the surgeon is still at work, that the jar has not emptied, that the seed under the soil is alive. I speak over the battles they cannot see that are being fought on their behalf right now in the realm they cannot access with their natural eyes. Let the doors that I am opening continue to open. Let the conversations about them that they did not arrange continue to move. Let the favor that is traveling through channels they did not build arrive in the form they needed in at exactly the time it is most needed. I speak over their bloodline, over the generations that came before them and carried what they were not able to close, and over the generations that will come after them and will live in the freedom of what is being closed in this one. What ends here does not restart. What is broken in this generation does not reassemble in the next. The door that is closing through the faithfulness and the assignment of this one is closing permanently, in the name of Jesus Christ, and it will not reopen. I speak healing over the places where the surgery is still ongoing, the places where tenderness is being restored, where hardness once lived, the places where trust is being rebuilt, where betrayal once made its home, the places where the real self is being uncovered beneath the armor that was necessary for survival and is no longer needed. Let the healing be complete. Let what emerges from this shutdown be whole in the places that entered it fractured. I speak over the provision that is moving toward this one in this season. Let the jar not empty, let the oil not run out. Let what is needed arrive in the form and the timing that I have already arranged, and let its arrival be recognized as my hand and not as coincidence, so that the faith that receives it is strengthened and not weakened. This is my word over you, my child, spoken in the night when two truths were hidden from you no longer, spoken in the authority of the one who arranged this moment before the foundations of the world, sealed in the name that is above every name, in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. If what God spoke over you tonight reached into a place that has been quiet for a long time, honor what you received with an act of faith. Sow a seed into the mission that carried this message to you. Visit the link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen. Your seed says, I believe the truth that was hidden is now mine to walk in. I believe the assignment I carry is real. I believe the season of sacred shutdown is preparation and not abandonment. I trust the one who spoke these truths tonight to bring every word to pass in my life. What you sow into the ground of that faith, God returns to you in the harvest of everything He has spoken over your future. My child, the two truths I spoke to you tonight now belong to you. The first, you are the one sent to end what your family could not by accident, by assignment, by the choosing of God before the world began. The second, the stillness you are in is not the absence of God. It is the preparation room of God, the place where the surgery happens that makes it possible to carry the weight of what comes next. These truths were hidden from you long enough. The enemy fought to keep them hidden because he knew what would happen when you received them. Tonight, you received them. Tonight, the architecture he built around your life to prevent these truths from landing began to come apart. Walk forward, my beloved, not in striving, not in the effort of someone trying to prove they deserve what was freely given. Walk in the quiet confidence of someone who finally knows both who they are and what this season is for. The door that closes in your generation does not reopen, and the season of incubation that has felt like winter is giving way to the spring that was always coming. Walk forward. I go before you. I have always gone before you, and I will not stop now. Not today, not in the season ahead.